Thanks for joining us at Right On Replicas, where we're proud to bring you the best scale model kit reviews on the planet.
This review covers the glowing ghost of the Red Baron from Atlantis. It's kit number M6742. Now, it doesn't have a scale listed, although 1/3 scale is about right, and it's a great kit for beginners. Attesting to its popularity, this kit's been released a few times in various versions, as well as this fresh new 2023 offering from Atlantis Models, and always made in America. Originally released as PC220 in 1969, this classic Tom Daniel design has been saved and reissued by Atlantis for us to enjoy once again. A derivative of the old Red Baron kit, Tom thought at the time that he could do something fun with the chrome helmet again, and he sketched out this skeleton ghost design on a placemat at a Mexican restaurant. Wow, inspiration. Made in USA again. This time it comes molded in 8 pieces of ghastly glow-in-the-dark plastic and brilliant red chrome-plated parts. All I can say is it's pure fun and even better than the first time. Also included is a beautiful water slide decal sheet, replacing the earlier peel and stick markings for the Iron Cross, and a rubber band to activate the bobble bone. The original far out instructions are back, now printed in red and black, and they detail the 10,740 steps required for construction. Now, it also mentions, as the story goes, that mad designer Tom Daniel dreamed up the Red Baron show rod, and then he began having midnight visits from the angry Baron's spirit. He seized the Baron's ghostly spirit and schemed to transform it into a ghastly image that everyone could view. And if you believe that, you're a kid at heart, just like me. The scene here with the aid of a blacklight, which we used to use for our posters back in the 70s. It will glow on its own, but the blacklight really brings it out. And when you're done, it'll be the first thing that catches your eye, or your eyeballs, on your shelf. Final dimensions are 4 1/4 square and 7 1/4 inches high. Here's how the contents of the kit are packaged. As you can see, the chrome pieces are wrapped individually, and the chrome is a brilliant red chrome. It actually has like a pearl iridescent coating to it too, so it's really quite attractive. Along with the glow-in-the-dark pieces, it's really a different kind of kit, but it's pretty well molded. There's very little flash, and it goes together well. Here are the decals for the kit. They're very striking and good contrast there. The register is pretty good on the iron crosses, and I used most of these as you'll see later. Construction starts with the front portion of the skull and the retaining pin for the eyeballs plate there, but we're going to do some detailing prior to that. We'll use the quake hold putty to plug up the eye sockets, and that black piece there was cut to fit in behind the teeth, the mouth area. We'll also use some acrylic paint to paint the eyeball sockets. Now the putty gets applied on the back side of the eyeball sockets, and that's to retain the paint. You can see the putty sticking through the holes there, and now I'm going to fill it up using a pipette to fill that area with craft paint. And now the socket is filled right up to where I want it, and I propped it up at an angle so that it would fill nice and evenly around the socket. And that's a trick that I used on scoops on aircraft. When you need a nice clean line and you want to fill up the inside of a scoop after it's been applied to an airplane. Well, once that's done, and you've got a little bit of time, maybe 5 minutes to let it set, use the pipette and draw off most of the paint, and then just take the putty off from the back side over a trash can, and you've got yourself a nice clean surface there and feature for your socket. Next, we'll use a small brush and some big dark wash to apply to some of the other facial features here. As you can see, we're going to run that along the upper gum ridge of the model so that it accentuates and separates the teeth. And you can draw that down in between the teeth to make sure you got a good clean line. And we'll also do the nasal passages there, and now she really looks like a ghost, or at least a skeleton. I put a little dab of paint on the eyeballs there for pupils, and left the rest to glow in the dark plane. And also I painted the stocks there flat black. So now with all the paint dry and the pieces assembled, we're going to also engage the rear of the skull, that piece there. And then there's not a rubber band in this picture because I misplaced it. So I went and found one that I could use in place of that. And it's red, so you might want to try a white one or a light green one if you have one for a little less conspicuous. But you can see here that the rubber band it's a small one, about 1 inch diameter, and you just stretch it around those pieces on the inside there where it comes down the sides. You just tuck that on the inside. Now make sure that the two surfaces of the front and back halves are flat, so use a sanding stick to make sure they're nice and flat. Before you stretch the rubber band on there, go ahead and install the eyeball sockets and plate. Now that rivet that holds it there, it doesn't press it hard up, so that's to allow the eyeballs to kind of jiggle when it bobbles. Also, you see that the cardboard behind the teeth has been taped into position. Now just press the two halves of the skull together. There's 3 posts and receivers that fit really nicely, and if it's flat, it'll look pretty nice even without addressing that seam. And we're going to use, of course, these other pieces you see to assemble the skull with the helmet and the spire. And now at any time here, if you need some further clarification, the instructions are located at the end of the review if you want to take a look at those. Now we'll start moving into final construction here. I wanted to show you how the bobble bone is inserted into the valve stem there, but we are going to take a diversion and do some decaling first. Now you see here that we've got all the major pieces assembled, and you'll find that like in some of the areas of the spire, there's a little thin. It's a little thin on the chrome. I used a little bit of stoplight paint, clear red, to kind of touch that up, along with the sprue attachment points on the base. Now the decals you see here are what we'll install next, and they come off very nicely. They are just the right thickness, and they laid down well into the base. But on the helmets, where I used a couple of the small iron cross emblems, I needed to use a little setting solution because it has a carrier between the wings on that, and so they will kind of just wrinkle if you don't put a little solution on them to smooth them out. It might be a little easier to assemble this later, but you can go ahead and use the bobble bone to insert it. And you see here the little eye looking black outline. That's your rubber band, and you just put your tangs on there, and she just bounces around, and that's your bobblehead. Well, there you have it. This absolutely pure fun kit is a blast from the past. And it reminds me of the days when motorcycle riders were using those big chrome helmets, but now it looks even better in that bright, brilliant red chrome. You can see I use most of the decals, and it's a real attention getter on the shelf during the day and ghastly at night. So if I were you, I'd buy one and put it on my shelf. Well, we hope you liked this premium step-by-step model kit review, and so that you don't miss any more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can do that by clicking on the icon in the lower right of any of our reviews, and you can find us on Facebook or our website, rideonreplicas.com. Thanks!